Axel Schura is in the studio with me. I'm so honored to be here. You know nothing about me. I've just read your entire book. So I feel like I know so many aspects of you and your incredible story. And I'm just so delighted to share it with our audience. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. And that's not completely true. I know I did my homework. Of course, I know a bit about you. We have common friends.
I want to just take a moment to appreciate the fact that you are sitting here today in this studio space when not that long ago, you were, of anyone that I've ever talked to who is now living, like the closest to death's door that you could possibly be. I'll read this from your book. It says, those are tumors all over his body. It's in his lungs, in his heart, in his stomach, everywhere. It's very aggressive. Based on the data we have, he will make it to the end of the week. And that is not even what was necessarily directly said to you, because you were hooked up to tubes at this point and IVs and scans. And you went from being, like, as you thought, perfectly healthy to being in the state. I mean, even as I read that, I could see your eyes kind of like filling up. It still brings out emotion for you.
100%. Because I also know that that was something that my family heard. There's still pain coming up, or like I feel for them, because it's one thing to go through it, but let's not forget about my loved ones or the families around people who go through hard times. But that must have been so hard. And that part of the book is the opening scene, and it gets to me every single time when I hear it. And I mean, I'm very grateful, blessed. Sometimes I have to, pinch myself that what happened?
Yeah, it really happened to you. And you wrote a book, which is sitting here right now. It's called Maybe This Is Happening for You, Not to You, which I absolutely love that sentiment. But my God, when you it is easy to apply that to losing a job and being like, oh, maybe this is happening for me, not to me. But when you have stage 4 cancer, and you are about to die, truly, applying that framework takes a whole nother level of mindset work. Now, obviously, when you first heard that news, you're not like, oh, this is happening for me, and not to me.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's an important point.
Which I want to get into. But
100%.
Can you take us back for those who haven't read your book to how this all played out initially? Yeah. Like, how did you end up in the hospital ward for months on end?
Yeah. So I was 26 at the time. I was living fairly healthy. I exercised. I took good care of my health. In fact, I had a health podcast and like a personal brand about health and wellness. And one day I started developing back pain. And I remember this vividly. I went to a pizza restaurant, one of the rare occasions that I would eat anything that is like fast food, but I went out of there and my back started hurting. And the next morning it got worse. And I thought, I probably had, trapped a nerve or something. And it got worse and worse and worse to the point that I said, so much pain, I can't sleep anymore. Let me go to the hospital and so that I get something against it. And I was just convinced I trapped the nerve because I was lifting too heavy. Went to the hospital, I got painkiller and it went away. I could sleep again, amazing. But a day later, it just got progressively worse and I just couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't stand straight. I was in so much pain. When she looked at me, first she's like, you don't have back pain. This is not back pain. She did a couple of tests. She's like, you have to rush to a hospital now. I think your appendix is about to burst. Because I had back pain, but also my entire stomach was just swollen. And everything was in pain. So she thought it was my appendix based on the inflammation markers, yada, yada, yada. So I remember leaving her office and I'm like, oh my gosh, my appendix. Probably I'm going to be out of office for 2 weeks. Like I can't go to the gym. I can't work. And I said that to Mariana, my ex-partner. And we were like, oh, Jesus. But whatever, let's go to the hospital. Let's do the surgery. I go to the hospital and pretty quickly they knew it was something else. They wouldn't tell me straight away, but they're like, I think we gotta send you to an oncologist. And I was like, what? As you mentioned earlier, I was high on different painkillers and drugs, which I was grateful for, because for the first time I wasn't in pain. I could actually sleep. I was like, thank you. But from that's how it happened, and it was like weeks.
So it was in a couple of weeks that they were able to diagnose that you had cancer all over your body.
Kinda took 2 weeks to this point when they said for the first time it could be, and then they did a test, a CT scan, and I can remember this particular CT scan because I was so high on different painkillers that I would just say weird stuff. And I remember like, what? Why are they doing those tests? Like, what's going on here?
You were pretty out of it.
I was pretty out of it. Like, you could have told me anything. I would have said, yeah, sure. So the sentence or the part that you were reading was what doctor said to my ex-girlfriend, Mariana.
Now, what I found really interesting about your story is one would listen to this and be like, this is Axel's mountain to climb. This is the hill that he had to climb to learn the lessons, for his soul to evolve, for him to mature. It's a hard, steep mountain. But like, this was not your only mountain. You are also from a family of immigrants, refugees. Your mother died when you were very young. And then you were raised in a home with an abusive father who was an alcoholic. This environment that you grew up in, and then this life-altering experience that you had. I really want people to hear this right now, because even if you haven't gone through even one of these things, one of these big T traumas in your life, Axel is going to share how he has transformed his life, really. Your body, your health, your wealth, your being. And I want you to understand that this is not a man coming from a place of privilege. This is not a man coming with the perfect environment that he was raised in, the happy family. And so if he can do what he has done, then you sitting here listening can take these tools, apply them to your life, and see the same forms of expansion, the same types of growth, the same evolution in your own life.
100%. And I want to make this part really clear. There was a part of my life, and also in the, the whole recovery journey, or dealing with this, whatever you want to call this, mountain to climb, challenge, cancer. At some point, I stopped calling it cancer and I started calling it teacher. Because whenever you say cancer, it comes with such a negative connotation. Like, it comes with, you say cancer and everybody around you is like, oh my gosh. So I started calling it teacher. There was a time in my life, I would say the majority of my childhood, I lived like life happened to me. I remember this moment, I was a teenager, I was depressed, I had a really hard time. I remember thinking this thought, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? There were days when I walked home from school and I was like, it's just miserable. Every day is miserable. And there I'm like, okay, so I was born, my mom dies. Then my father turns into an alcoholic. I get abused mentally, physically, by my caregivers, by teachers. We didn't have much money, so I got bullied a lot. And I want to say a big thank you to anybody who, like you, who creates personal development content, because that stuff got me out of there. I met other people who went through worse things, I would say, or equally hard things. For the first time, this idea entered my system that, hey, maybe the past is wisdom. Maybe it happens for you. There was a lot of resistance at the beginning when I heard this idea for the first time. And also in the hospital room, if you would have told me at certain points like this is happening for you, I would have told you, like, yeah, right? And there were actually moments, because my brother, he plays a big role in the book, in my life, and also in this whole journey. Because that my brother, when all of this happened to me, happened for me. He basically stopped his entire life and just dedicated it to me. He was there 24/7. And he reminded me of my own teachings because I did a lot of work already before. And all of those, he follows me. He's like one of my biggest fans. He's one of my biggest supporters. I lived on his couch when I just started, when I was posting online and I didn't make any money, but I had this passion. I didn't even know you could make money with coaching or content. I was just like, this is my passion. It's going to work out somehow. During this time, he just fully commits his life to me and reminds me of my own teachings and the things I learned before. He's like, Axel, one day you will look back and you can connect the dots. Because one of my all-time favorite speeches, he knows that, is by Steve Jobs in front of, I think it's Stanford University. And he says, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And he quotes that. I'm like, really, he was my mentor, my coach, my lights. There were many lights in my life, but without him, I don't know if I would be sitting here.
He sounds truly incredible. And your
He
grandma
is.
as well.
My grandma, I mean, there's so many people, but like my family, my loved ones, they really like showed me how this could be happening for me. There was also Mariana that I mentioned earlier. Multiple times she said, like, Axel, this will help so many people. I didn't say anything. I knew at some point it would, but it was too early.
Yes.
Like there was this moment of like, I'm just going through it. Right now, I'm just like, somehow one more day.
Yeah. And when you're in those dark soul of the night moments, it is really hard to see this framework. But I love what you just said. If you can trust that eventually you'll be able to connect the dots and you just have to keep moving through it. So you mentioned we have to hear how this all pans out, because I know that there are people listening who have a loved one who has cancer or have been through it themselves. I want to address that as well, because sometimes people do die from cancer. So how do you navigate this when you're talking about your own story and the fact that you lived? And yet there are so many people where the story may not be happening for them. Like their life ends.
Yeah. It's obviously a big topic. And I do see those comments as well. My mission, my intention, the reason why I post about it. And by the way, for a long time, I didn't. For a long time, it took, I think, 2 years that I started posting about this. My cup wasn't full. And once my cup was full, I opened up to the idea like, hey, this could actually help a lot of people. And then I started posting about it, and a few clips completely went insane online. And the messages that we received from people, from primarily mothers, got really to my heart. Like when did it happen? I've never seen anything like this. Like I had content pieces going viral before, but it went to like 10 million souls, and mothers sending me videos of their sons watching this and going for it. And it really showed me that this has so much power. This is so much bigger than myself. And once I saw those kids going through it and having hope that, they can recover from this, I'm like, you know what? It sounds terrible to say, but it was worth it for me to go through this. I would do this. If I could know, I would be able to help so many people. And if it's just one person to have the belief that you can heal, all worth it, all good. Already it was worth it. I mean, my mom died of cancer. There's part that you can call luck. I think I'm really lucky.
Like God or spirit or something bigger than.
Something bigger than like if it would have just been me without my loved ones, I don't think I would have had the strength. I was in a bed, I couldn't move. And my brother was pushing me to just, it's so hard to describe. It's like describing how a rose smells. When your body you can't move. It's so hard. You just cannot. Just getting up was like running a marathon. Like I'm an athlete. I know how to push myself. It's not that I don't have discipline or willpower or a certain mindset. But in that moment, just everything hurts. Everything hurts. But he's like, you got to do it. You got to do it. Just 5 seconds. Just do 5 seconds. And then at some point he would say things like, yeah, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for Mariana. I'm like,
he knew just how to get to you. But what I'm hearing is that it's a combination, getting through these difficult times, of you getting yourself in the mindset and of this is happening for me, the day by day, step by step, and then having your support network, and then the miracle of something bigger than, and all of these things coming together support us as human beings.
Exactly. And to answer your question, I mean, there's not much that I can say when someone passes away. I can share what helped me. Because for a long time I used to say I don't have a mother. I never met my mother, and so I don't have a relationship with my mother. But because of this experience, I got to do certain work. There was this one particular therapist. They have an institute called Learning Love Institute. One of the best things I've ever committed to. And there was this one setting where it's pretty much just someone is channeling the energy. And for the first time, I was speaking to my mom, and I could pick someone who would represent my mom, and I was there on my knees. I couldn't stand. I was sobbing. I was crying, and I would have this. Like now, I have a relationship with my mom. Might sound a little cuckoo, but just because she's not here anymore doesn't mean that I can't speak to her or be guided by her. Often when I have to make decisions, I ask her, like, what do you think is good for me? Every day when I meditate, I know you're a meditator. On a daily basis, I connect to her. She's my mom. Like, I somehow came through her body. It's quite a miracle. The reason why I'm mentioning this is if I can talk to her and I let her speak, she won't say, Axel, I want you your whole life to suffer because of me. I had to play the role that I needed to play. This had to happen. And I don't know why this happened. I also don't know if it's really true that life is happening for you, not to you. I don't know if not. You could be the case that someone else is making, has a bit of dark sense of humor and is, says this happens now, this happens now. I don't know. But I know that life is just so much better when you believe it does happen for you, that everything has a bigger purpose. And my mom wouldn't, if she would be here with us in the room, she wouldn't tell me, Axel, you need to suffer. You need to believe that it should have not happened. And that is a crucial point. It was a crucial point in my healing, but it's so controversial to say it. We really suffer when we believe something should have not happened. And if I run around with that mindset, I believe my mom should have not died, I'm gonna suffer. And she doesn't want me to suffer. So my choice is to say it happened for a bigger purpose. Maybe I don't know what happened. I choose to believe that she is somewhere else having a much better time than she had in this body. That's the belief that I find really empowering. For me, it's not empowering to believe it should have not happened. Same thing with having an alcoholic father. Maybe he just, like in a movie, he had to play the role that he needed to play. Who am I to say it should have not happened?
It's such an empowering way to look at life that truly allows you to grow through painful moments versus become stuck or stalled or to kind of constrict inward. It allows you to kind of expand outward as you're moving through challenging things. I like that you mentioned that while you're in the challenging moment, it might be hard to tap into that because you're allowed as a human to feel grief.
Yes.
Or pain.
So important.
Or struggle.
100%.
Talk to me a bit about this.
You need to. And the scene I just mentioned was so crucially important for me as a person because when my mom died, I didn't go to a funeral. I was a baby. I didn't have time to process it. Just all of a sudden if I connect to a baby, like me as a baby, you have a mom. Every mother can probably tell you there's such a strong bond between a mom and her little boy. And all of a sudden she's gone. And I'm like, I can't remember, but it must have been terrifying. And everybody went to a funeral. I didn't. For a long time, it was even, when you have like, I don't know if it's just a German thing, but in the German culture, you take a lot of pictures and you put them into an album,
Yes.
so that you can always remember. And
we do that in Canada too.
You don't do it. Do you still do it?
No,
I mean,
we
now
don't.
you have phones,
still,
right?
we don't. No, but when I was a kid, my mom had a photo album.
Yeah. And whenever I saw pictures from like the funeral or something, you're like, don't look at this, don't look at this, don't look at this, and it wasn't good for me. I actually, as an adult, I needed time to grieve and process and feel that pain, because I never did before, and I actually took a bit of time to process that, and not many people understood. But I didn't care. What you just mentioned is so important to, when you go through that, to authentically feel the emotion. Otherwise, you suppress it.
Right. Do you remember any emotion that you had around cancer, or were you just so high on drugs the whole time?
I remember this one scene. I was in the room and my brother encouraged me to scream.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love your brother.
But I barely had a voice.
Right.
But I tried, like, I needed to scream and to yell he's like, just for a couple minutes, I want you to vent. I want you to complain. I want you to say how unfair all of this is. I really did that. And I also cried off when I got off the drugs, when I actually started to get better. Therapy was working. There were days when I was just crying for like 2-3 hours in the evening. Yeah, so good. Nurses came in. Yeah, really healthy. Really healthy. Nurses came in and they're like, what are you crying about? I'm like, I don't even know. I think my body's just processing.
Yes. It's so healthy to let emotion move through you and to get it out. And I think for men in particular, crying is it's not something that you're taught that you're allowed to do, or that it's good for you healing, a stress relief. And so I'm glad your brother was there to tell you
I
that.
mean, the opposite is the case. As men, we often were primed to believe, conditioned to believe that crying is weakness, showing emotion is weakness, asking for help is a weakness, going to therapy is weird. But luckily I've done a fair amount of work before, so I knew, like, okay, there is a reason why men can cry. And I also knew that crying is part of healing. So actually nurses asked me, not because they're bad or because they were evil, but they asked me, do you want anything against this? Do you want any antidepressants or anything? I'm like, hell no. I want to process. I want to cry. I want to let me feel. Like, I need to feel. And in those moments, before you can get to the point like, this is happening for me, I think you need a bit of time. Time is an important factor when it comes to healing. Whether it's a breakup, whether it's cancer recovery, time is so important. We need to give ourselves the time.
You mentioned that in the hospital room, you had pictures put up of various things that you could look to in the future. Yes. And I am somebody who my first vision board I did when I was 25, living in a basement suite, broke AF, super anxious, struggling with food in my body. And everything on that vision board has come to fruition 10x. So big believer in the power of having a vision. How does this play out in your life? How did it play out at that time in supporting you? And is it something that you still use today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say 100% I agree. I once read this quote by Bob Proctor. I don't know if you know it, but if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. And I truly believe. I mean, you just said it worked out for me. I can tell you it worked out for me. All the things that were on my vision board when I was 18, they're now my reality and 10x. So having a vision is really important. Without a goal, you can't score. Without knowing what you actually want, it's hard to manifest it. Sounds overly simplistic, but it's very true, right? Who said it has to be complicated? During that time in the hospital room, my vision board has changed, or my vision board changed a lot. It was my girlfriend at the time, Mariana. She actually said, hey, we need something to look forward to. We need a compelling vision of the future. Send me pictures of things that you still want to do, things that inspire you. We put it on the wall, but I had a cute couple on a scooter. Like old couple on a scooter, very happy. and no helmet or whatsoever, just like enjoying life. I had the Australian Open, really wanted to go there. House by the sea, but most of it was just about love. Like some picture that shows love and affection. I had this picture of an old, married, happy couple with a family. That's all. Like I used to have a white Tesla on my vision board. That didn't make it to the.
I mean, listen. Sometimes we have the material things, and sometimes it changes, and both are okay.
Yeah. Both are okay. I mean, now I wouldn't want to drive a Tesla anymore, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Now it would be
Fair
a
enough.
black Porsche,
Yeah.
Taycan. But anyways, during that time, the most like the priority was really my loved ones. I don't want to before health. It was my loved ones. For me, that gave me the most power. And whenever I would have moments of doubt, I'm like, I can't do that. Like I want to show up for them.
Yeah, that community aspect is so important. In the book, you mention that fear is an acronym for two possible things. One is forget everything and run, and the alternative is face everything and rise. Love that. I'd never heard that before. And I think as somebody who is chasing her dreams and also comes with a lot of things and stuff that are happening for me as far as anxiety and such, fear is present in my life. Like it comes up whenever you're expanding outside of your comfort zone or trying something new, or it's inevitable. How did that perspective allow you to move through those darkest days of cancer?
What a beautiful question. I want to first of all say every emotion that we have happens for us. That's the idea. Like without fear, you and I, we wouldn't be sitting here. When you go too close to the edge of a cliff, you will feel fear. So it's somewhat good. What's not good is, or what's challenging, and where we get to adapt is when in our modern lives, fear comes up when it actually shouldn't. When you feel like you wanna share an idea, or you feel like you want to do this podcast, or you want to reach out, or you want to speak to that person, and fear comes up, it often feels literally like you're about to die. Or it feels like there is a lion with you in the room who's about to rip you into pieces. And we've all been there. And often, whenever there's a room, I'm speaking in front of a group, and I ask, who in this room has worried about something, but it never became reality? The entire room raises their hands. And then I'm asking, okay, who here does this almost on a daily basis? The entire room raises their hand. So it's one of the most important skills that we get to learn. And connecting the dots, now I can tell you, dealing with death at such a young age, like I had to become an expert when it comes to fear. Because one thing is the fear of dying. The next thing is, what if it comes back?
Yeah.
Fear about that, anxiety about that. So I needed to learn, what can I practically do to don't live in that state of fear? And so, first of all, I want to say every emotion happens for us. We need to accept fear is actually, it has a purpose. Okay? What isn't really happening for us is when fear is stopping us from doing the uncomfortable things. And you just mentioned fear, like every single time when you grow, every single time when you do something out of your comfort zone, fear might come up. You said, forget everything and run. You can do that. But it's not, what won't happen is that it gets less. It becomes actually worse. The fear becomes stronger. So what I want to do is dance with my fear, face my fear. This is where all the growth happens. And if you train your mind, your brain to do that, to take mini risks.
Ooh, love the mini risk.
Like the first time you jumped into a car, you were probably overwhelmed. You're like, oh my gosh, so many buttons, gear, stick, what the heck, brake, pedal. Oh my gosh, so complicated. You were sweating, you were nervous, but you do it over and over again. You take mini risks. You have someone guiding you. And at some point, you're driving your car, listening to the newest Taylor Swift album while doing your makeup and doing your makeup and having a phone call and organizing things all at the same time. How did you do that? Well, mini risks progressively. And so when it comes to fear, am I free from fear or anxiety? No, but is it much better than it was 10 years ago? 100,000%. I would get afraid or would feel this fear if a deadline would approach. I would be fearful.
Now, like, what if you get a stomach ache? Do you have immediate fear?
Not anymore.
But initially,
there was, and I needed to train my mind. It's a process. Okay, this is happening right now. And I love when a therapist says, he said, okay, follow the thought until the end. I want to dance with my fear. Okay. If something like this comes up, okay. What if it happens? But what if it's just a freaking stomach pain like this the last 7 times? After therapy, after spending months and months and months in a hospital, I went home and I introduced foods into my life again that I couldn't eat. I was not advised to eat. I would get stomach pains sometimes. And I now had the choice to that every single time when I would get a stomach pain, I could now react and give meaning to the situation that, oh my gosh, it happens again. Or I could just follow the thought and say, okay, but right now, what is present? Just stomach pain. Let's see tomorrow. And if it's tomorrow there and it's really bad, okay, we're going to go to a hospital. Thank you, body. Thank you, emotion, for coming up. Right now, I'm in charge and I give things meaning. That's where we have the power. We can't control. It's not that we press some button. I want to be anxious right now. Nobody does that, right? It happens automatically. But what we can do is we choose our response. We pause for a second. And then there are different techniques, and we briefly touched meditation, but also doing things like breath work to really, like, when you are in that state, first of all, you got to shift your state. You can't think your way out of it. In most cases, unless you are, I don't know, a monk who has a lot of practice. What I would do in those moments is a few rounds of breath work. This simple box breathing, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's 4 seconds. Everybody can do it. Navy SEALs do it when they get stressed. You inhale for 4 seconds. You stop. You let it out. And you do that. And you hold again. Inhale, stop, exhale, stop. And it's a simple box breathing technique everybody can do. And I do that in those moments, and you will see, you do a couple of minutes, and I felt better. I'm like, okay. And now the meaning making part. What meaning do I want to create in this moment? And often we don't really know how it will play out. One of the biggest challenges of my entire life was actually dealing with this fear of it coming back. And I know many people who had cancer or have loved ones who had cancer, but even my co-author, he was involved in a car accident. He was driving, and someone who was a close friend of him died in this car accident. No, it's one thing that it happens, but what if it happens again? Going back into a car, driving again, it was a whole process for him, right? And I got introduced into this in psychology. It's called act as if psychology. It's actually I can't believe that sometimes, you act as if psychology. It's actually so simple. But when I heard it, I was like, this makes so much sense. Because here's where I'm a big advocate on therapy. I say everybody who can get a therapist. Like, if you can get most people that I meet, most people that I see have been massively traumatized in their lives. If you see, I believe we all actually have big, massive, beautiful hearts. They're not good people. They're not bad people. They're traumatized people. They're hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. Healed people heal people. And so those of us who were traumatized, like, it's like a wound. And it helps when you have a broken leg, you go to a doctor, no? So why not, if we have inner wounds, go to a qualified therapist? And my therapist, he was sitting down with me, and I'm like, I'm terrified of it coming back. Okay, I want to introduce you to this concept of act as if psychology.
Act as if psychology.
Yeah, okay. So the situation right now is you're clear of cancer. It could come back. But what if it doesn't? Didn't even think about that option. What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What if I'm 95 and I'm sitting there on my comfortable chair, my grandchildren are playing right in front of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just spent 63 years asking myself, well, what if it happens again? And it never happened.
Bracing yourself for that. Like, not only just asking yourself, but making choices and decisions and taking actions, almost preparing for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the alternative would be
act as if everything turns out way better than we think it does.
I love this.
And I'm like, at least, but let's just think about it rationally. Well, at least you had a good time in the meanwhile, no matter what happens. Nobody knows what happens. We all don't know that we all have in common, you know. I thought when I was 26, I was invincible. Like, I'm eating my veggies, I'm exercising, I'm going to live a long, 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 long life. And a couple of weeks later, I was told I have a week left. So we never know. Nobody knows. And that's the beauty of life.
Act as if everything is going to work out.
And even better than you can even imagine. That's how I want to live. And that is a good feeling.
With a little like Taylor Swift soundtrack in the back. That is a great way to live. And what I've noticed in all the conversations that I've had and in my own life, when you're able to put on those glasses and walk through life in that way, everything does start working out.
Yes.
I
love the fact that you said glasses.
It's like, take off those foggy gray glasses and put on the rose-colored ones.
Yes.
And try it on. What happens if you walk into the coffee shop and interact with people from that place? Yeah. What happens when you look up and you believe that health and wealth and good relationships are coming your way, that they're already there. Yeah. They're deserving of it. Literally, it starts showing up all around you. You start seeing it. I want to know a little bit about your well within. I'm so curious, what are the things that you do to tend to your inner world now?
I have a very simple practice that I have been practicing almost for a decade now. The first 30 minutes of the day are mine. It doesn't matter what's on the schedule, except today. It was one of those days. It's like maybe 3 days in the year when I do something. I brought my girlfriend drove her to the airport at some ungodly hour, 4 a.m. or something. So I first drove her back, but then I go into, it's me time. That time is really like every day I have, if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, where I prime myself for the day. And it's like, you know, we all brush our teeth, hopefully. Everybody does that.
Twice a day.
Hopefully, that'll be good. I do the same thing with my mind. I wanna take good care of my mental hygiene. So I sit down every single morning, and the first question I ask myself is, what is good about my life? Ooh. And I just speak to myself. And I say, this is good right now. This is good right now. This is good right now. And by the way, I also did that in the hospital. Doesn't matter what happens also in the outside world. I know if I follow this practice, I want to train this appreciation muscle every single day. Every day, I want to appreciate something.
What is good about my life? And you're just speaking it out loud. You're not writing it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that. So simple and so impactful.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Or do you do that for 30 minutes?
No. The whole practice takes 10 minutes. At the end of the day, it's just questions we ask ourselves questions all the freaking time. Our brain works in questions. So I used to wake up and ask myself as a teenager, oh my gosh, what are all the things that I don't want to do today? What are all the meetings, all the teachers that I don't want to see today? Now I'm trying to do the opposite. At the beginning, I asked myself, what would make today great? Now it's really what is good about my life. That kind of like, okay, but right now, actually, it's pretty good. Like, it's already good. And then I ask myself, what do I want to focus on? What do I want to create? That's the next bit. So what is good right now? And I need excitement. I need something to look forward to. I believe we all do that. We all need that. What do I need to focus on today? What do I want to create today? And the answers based on the day are different. On a Sunday, it could be what I really need to focus on today is actually to do absolutely nothing. To turn my devices off, spend some time in nature, or go to the spa, or just spend time with a friend. Most days, it is something creative. It is something a message that I want to bring out. Writing a chapter for a book or something like this, like something that I'm looking forward to. So that's the second question. What do I want to create? And then the third bit is really about connecting to love. That's something that I started doing recently more often. I told you with my mom, that really helps me. And it brings me so much joy and also perspective. Because I don't know how it is for you, but I work, I work in the online space. There's so many opinions about what I should do, what I shouldn't do, how I should speak, how I shouldn't speak. And when I connect with my mom or my grandma, they are qualified to be the judge. Like I decided in a conscious state, in a homeostasis, I said, if there would be a judge about right behavior, who I am in my essence, I let them be the judge. I would come like, do you think I showed up as a good man in that situation? And they would be honest with me. So I want to be connected to that voice.
How do you connect to that place of love, connection with those who have passed? It sounds like really like a heart-opening experience, which I know you're passionate about, talking about being more heart-led. How do you cultivate that? Like, what does that look like? Are you just talking to them?
I can honestly at this point, because I've done it so many times, I can feel their presence. If I close my eyes and I go into a meditative state, I'm in that state. I'm already full of appreciation and gratitude for what's good in my life. What I've done before for a very long time is see myself like I've trained this visualization muscle, like my biceps, even more, where I would visualize something that I want to achieve, something that I want to feel, something that I want to create, and I see myself already celebrating that moment. So for me, it's very easy to visualize because I've done the reps. Like I've done it for so many times. So if you're listening, watching, and you don't have that connection yet, well, maybe that takes also a bit of time.
Like going to the gym and
Like
building up a muscle.
Exactly. Like if you've never done a pull-up, don't expect to push out 15 pull-ups in a row, unbroken. So for me, it's really just sensing their energy, their presence. Sometimes I pick a memory that I have with my grandma. Like if I would want to put myself into a grateful state, I would picture myself on a Saturday morning, my grandma in the kitchen, and she would ask me, what do you want to eat today? And she would make those little potatoes with onions. And I'm salivating while I'm saying this, but that puts me into a state. And our brain often doesn't know the difference between reality or you just thinking about it. You just picturing it in your head. So that's how I built that connection.
I love that, through the imagery and using your mind in a mental rehearsal of sorts.
Yeah.
I want to talk about like movement, food, caffeine, alcohol. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, those are big topics. First of all, foods, as we've established today, eat your broccoli sprouts. And I really mean it. I wish someone else would have told me earlier.
Why broccoli sprouts?
Because they have massive amounts of sulforaphane. 1 kilogram of raw broccoli, and that's raw broccoli, contains as much sulforaphane as 50 grams of broccoli sprouts. Or the other way around, 50 grams of broccoli sprouts contain the same amount of sulforaphane as 1 kilogram of raw broccoli.
That's a lot of broccoli.
That's a lot of broccoli. And sulforaphane is at the end of the day, it's a cancer protective compound that you find in certain plants. If you cook it, the sulforaphane is being destroyed. There are certain tricks to walk around, like you can chop the broccoli and then let it, and that's really true. I couldn't believe it. Like, look it up, double check it, triple check it. You chop it into little pieces. You cut the broccoli and you let it wait for around 30 to 40 minutes. And an enzyme is being built that protects the sulforaphane, and then you can cook it and you get the sulforaphane. It's wild.
Okay. Nature.
Yeah, nature. It's wild. Also, what's really exciting about this, and I'm here in America, and often fast food options are cheaper than whole food options.
I know, it's sad.
It's sad. There are ways around it, and I'm like, you can now choose like, oh, it's all happening to me, victim state, or you're like, well, I create my reality, I make my own luck, and so I buy broccoli seeds. They're incredibly cheap, organic. You literally make your own luck, and you sprout. Accessible for everybody, high quality, organic food, super cheap. You get to eat your own food. Isn't that amazing? So in terms of diet, sprouts and a whole food diet, I've followed that diet already before that. So I can't say like, oh, because of this diet, I healed so quickly.
And that's okay. Yeah. I'm a real believer that every body is going to need different foods and different types of foods. So yeah, you don't even have to get so as specific, but are you vegan, Mediterranean?
Plant-based.
Plant-based.
Okay. I'm not religiously vegan. I am full of mistakes in terms, I don't want to be a person pretending I'm perfect. The more plants I eat, the better I feel, like personally. And also during therapy, actually, during my healing journey, I recovered really fast, really quickly. Doctors were like, wow, how on earth are you doing this? And they were advising me to eat animal products to rebuild my muscle mass, because I lost 30 kilograms. You operate in pounds, right? That's times 2 plus 10%. I think like 60, 70 pounds. It's a lot. It's a third of my body weight. And I was a big guy, like trained, just lean, but a lot of muscle mass. And I lost all of it. Regained all of it with a plant-based diet. So I've proved that you can do it. I feel great. Like, things that I eat every day are berries, are in general fruits, veggies, whole grains. I eat legumes. Then there's sleep, which is, we talk about it and we kind of know it's important, but then we still sacrifice our sleep, and big amount of the population spends too much time on their phones in front of screens and don't sleep enough. And that is just like, that should be the biggest priorities in our lives, also for our kids.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am somebody who needs my sleep to be able to function.
All of us.
We all do.
Yeah, we all perform worse. I
think some people are so disconnected from their body that they think that they can thrive and survive on that little sleep, but like, it is a whole nother world when you prioritize getting proper sleep.
100%. 1,000,000%.
What about movement?
I love moving. And here's something that has changed in my life. When I was younger, when I was 18, 19, my biggest priority was to get the biggest guy, the biggest version of myself in terms of muscle mass. I did bodybuilding. That has shifted now. My number one priority, my goal is to be the healthiest version I can be. But I try to sit as little as possible and actually move my body as much as possible with doing a certain thing that actually I enjoy doing, like playing paddle. That doesn't feel like cardio.
I love it. Moving your body every day. I think that there's a real shift. I mean, I'm older than you, but it was the same sort of idea when I was younger, that wellness was all about, for me, shrinking my body, and for you, getting bigger. Yeah. Whereas now it's all about like, how can I manage my energy levels? How can I not be too chaotic and frazzled and frantic with my energy, but also have enough energy to build out this life and live this life that I have? And And how do I feel regulated? And how do I sleep well and manage hormones and all of these things? Like, the perspective on it has completely flipped at this point. And it is so much more life-giving to look at it that way. Okay, alcohol, yay or nay?
Say again?
Yay or nay?
100% nay. Nay, 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 nay. I always wonder what future generations will say about us. Because if we look back 200, 300 years, in the past, we say like they did certain things. Really? Like, you guys did that? Like, we could speak for 3 years about stupid things we once did. I think future generations, I'm not just thinking, I'm certain future generations will look at us and say, so you're going to tell me they were drinking alcohol every week, some people every day, and you're going to tell me that those people who decided not to drink were kind of like bullied for it or were questioned? Like right now, if you go somewhere, if I go out, it still happens. Not often because my bubble, has adjusted. But I remember when I stopped drinking, my friends were like, "You're not drinking today? What's up with you? Are you driving?"
You know what was really interesting for me when I stopped drinking was I felt very supported. But then when my anxiety was doing so much better, so I was like, oh, I'll have a glass of wine here or there. And people were like, oh, we're so glad that you're drinking again. Or, yes, Fun Aaron's back. And it was like, oh, shit. So you did actually care that I had stopped drinking, even though I felt better than I'd ever felt before. So it's really interesting other people's perspective. But one thing you said in the book was that we've got to stop worrying about what other people think, which we've all heard before. But this is the part that I like. You said there's only two people that matter. One is, what would your younger self think? And two, what would the older version of you think? And I think this is brilliant for everyone who's going through life. Like, what would that younger version of you be proud of for doing? And also, what would the older version of you be telling you to do? And really living life from that place is a pretty epic spot to exist from.
100%. But it's interesting, since I've stopped drinking, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. I had maybe 2 or 3 drinks since then. And when I stopped caring about what other people think, whether I should drink or not, it stopped happening to me that people would make comments about it. It's really interesting. I think often you asked earlier about inner work. When we do the inner work and there is no insecurity anymore, it happens less often.
You're unfuckwithable. Is what comes to mind. Yes. That's just what comes up. It's like there's nothing there that could be triggered. The way that you're going to speak about your truth or your decisions, your actions is so steadfast.
Yeah. 100%. And since then, my outside world has changed. I can't recall the last time when someone asked me like, "You're not drinking anymore." But yeah, I don't think anybody should be drinking alcohol, and I highly, 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 highly recommend to avoid it at any cost. It's poison. There is no safe amount of alcohol that is good for you. It's just not. That is, by the way, that is nothing you discuss. That's just like scientific consensus. There is nothing you can discuss. It's not an opinion. It's just a fact. And I think there should be more people who actually say it like this. Every single time when you decide to drink, that's just the truth. You can do whatever you want with your life, with your body. But every single time when you decide to drink alcohol, it's like literally damaging your body. It's like consciously, I'm choosing to damage my body. I think, why are people drinking alcohol? Many people. Often they feel like their heart is opening. They feel less shame. They can dance. They can talk to people they would usually not be able to talk to. Now imagine you do this kind of work and you're able to do this sober. That's the real magic. Imagine you can dance like there's no tomorrow when you're sober.
I felt when I was sober that I had the most fun, the most energy. I was often the last one at the party because there's no down that comes afterwards. Like, you are just feeding off of everybody's energy. And if I was at something and I felt like it was time to go home, it was also just a read on like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I don't need a substance to make me stay.
Yeah.
It's just time to go home.
Exactly.
So much more clarity. Thank you for just saying it how it is. I think sometimes we do just need the cold, hard truth.
If you want to drink. I have like, it's not that any industry is paying me to say the to say this.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is the truth, and it's so important. I think our job comes with a certain amount of responsibility, and I see right now what I see in this space, especially coming from men, is I see cigars, I see alcohol and partying, I see 15 Bugattis. This is the version that right now that we have, what we think successes. Yeah. What are we doing to our bodies? Like, what are we doing? We literally put poison into our body and we make it look cool. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm willing to take the hate or to sound unpopular because I know what it's like to face death. And I can tell you, your health is the most important thing. In the book, I say you were born rich. I really believe this. Talk to anybody who has been where I've been, just in front of death. They will tell you all the same thing. I would have given everything away, every single penny, my business, everything away to just be healthy again. And what are healthy people doing? Drinking like there's no tomorrow, smoking, like numbing. You're not getting the point how rich you actually are. That's what I mean with you were born rich.
So, Axel, if somebody is listening right now and they are feeling motivated, feeling inspired, and thinking about, where in their life they want to break things open or where in their life they could expand, what is the first step? What words of wisdom would you have for them?
The first step is I would ask everybody to connect to their hearts. What is your heart saying? If I would put a microphone to your heart has all the answers. All the answers are already within you. One of my favorite meditations in the whole world, so simple, everybody can do this, is to close your eyes, to put your left hand on your heart. If you want, you can do it while we're listening. I'm going to guide you through it. It's super, super simple. So all you really need to do is to breathe into your heart. Big inhales into your heart and out. Just try to inhale into your heart and out. So everybody listening, do the same thing. Close your eyes. Into your heart and out. And I'm just going to invite you to think of a person that you love. Who are you thinking of when I ask you, who do you love? And you keep breathing into your heart and out. Who comes up? And can you think of a memory, of a fun memory you shared with that person? A loving memory you share with that person. You keep breathing into your heart. And can you give thanks to that person, to that moment? Right now. Maybe you can even feel your heartbeat. And I'm going to ask you two very simple questions. Number one, right now, keep breathing into your heart. Right now, in your life, right now, in your life, all you really need to focus on is And all you really need to remember is, and you fill in the gap, all you really need to focus on right now in your life. And all you really need to remember is, and whatever the first thought is that comes up, just let it be. Your heart has all the answers. That is a meditation. In that book is not just my lessons, but the lessons of so many incredible mentors that literally turned my life around. With their help, I turned my life around. One of them, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Mel Robbins. I don't know what it is about the Robbins, but there's so many incredible people. And Tony Robbins, I once did a program with Tony Robbins, and we did this meditation, and it stuck with me, like connecting to my heart. And the heart usually knows. The heart knows what the right thing is to do. And we talked about fear. When you're connected to your heart, when you are in this state of gratitude and appreciation, it's very hard to be fearful at the same time. And there's so much power coming from our hearts. And when we can be connected to our hearts, we can almost do every single thing we set our minds up to. And so often it is it's funny because the thing you're most afraid of, the conversation you're most afraid of, that's the conversation you should have next. The thing you're most afraid of to do, that's the thing you should do next. That you should face next. That's where all the growth, all the beauty is in your life.
I know everybody listening probably had something come up for them, whether it was in the meditation or those last two questions that Axel asked. So my request is that you walk through the fear, knowing that both of us are right behind you, cheering you on. You have absolutely got this. Take those mini risks. Please look after your body, look after your mind, look after your inner world, and know that you are so supported within, with us, and with something bigger than you. So Axel, thank you so much for joining me today. You are just so incredibly inspiring on so many different levels. Where can everybody get their book?
Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet. Pretty much everywhere where you can get books, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. There is a page, and I want to mention that because we've put a lot of love into not just the book, but an entire movement of people who believe that life happens for them. And there's an exercise where you literally rewrite your whole life story in a way that you believe that everything happens for you. That is my goal with this book. You walk out of there, you have so much. It's not just a book. And everybody who gets the book right now, you if you keep your confirmation number, you can hop over to axelschura.com/maybe bonus. I'm sure you're going to put that into the show notes as well, where you get guided meditations, where you get guided visualization practices. There are multiple coachings that I actually recorded for people, coaching sessions, a couple hours long. You don't need to pay for anything. It's all free if you order the book. Because I want to give people the tools. And meditation has been one of the best self-regulation tools, breath work, visualization, and I want everybody to have access to those tools. And otherwise you can just order it online as an ebook, as a hardcover that you see right there. It's also funny because no matter which way you turn it, you see I'm there. And yeah, thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Thank you. Please take whatever resonates, leave the rest behind. I will see you here, same place, same time next week.
Thank you so much. Thank you.